You're listening to the Occupational Philosophers with Simon Banks and John Rice.
Hello and welcome to the Occupational Philosophers. This is an Inbetweener episode designed to fire up your curiosity, creativity and imagination. And it's a lot shorter, so there's less of us talking. So you should be able to get through this one. Simon, hello. What are we talking about today?
Well, firstly, on less talking, because we've got less time, I'm going to ask shorter questions. I've been challenging myself. And John, herein lies the tension, okay? And today we're going to speak around tensions. Now, when I mean tensions, and I've been exposed to this a lot in work lately, this concept of tensions. And when you think about it, everything in life, not everything, there's a lot of tensions in our life, and they're positive, negative, good, bad. So I'll give an example. Everything, there's almost like a positive and negative around it. So it might be, think of the tension. I'll give you an example. All right, so let's say I'm an entrepreneur, which I would say, so I run a business, and there's always this tension of, Simon, you need to put in more effort to grow your business. You can do more, you can try harder, you can call more people, you can, a bit of that Gary Vaynerchuk, go harder, a bit of that sort of entrepreneur porn, they call it. So that's one tension. Always do more, or that's one thing. But the other tension is, Simon, where's your enjoyment in life? Like, how are you going to relax? How are you going to spend more time with your family? Do you want to be working a 14-hour day, even if you think if you do that for 5 years, you might get where you want to be, versus the tension of balance, mental health. So, John, this has got me this idea of thinking around tensions. And look, they don't always have to be in that sort of vein of a really struggle street tension. Levi, my son, is hellishly into skating and scooter riding. So he does backflips and these flies off into the air and all this type of stuff. He was at a big skate park the other day and he came back and said, "Oh, Dad, there was an ambulance at the skate park, 2 ambulances, a fire truck and police today." I said, "What happened?" "Oh, someone broke their leg," and I'm giving John, it's only for radio, at right angles, okay?
Oh,
so he's telling me all of this, and he said, it was a bit grim. He had all things up his nose, and they were putting something in his mouth. He said, I think they call it the green whistle and all this type of stuff. "Oh, how was that poor kid?" And he goes, "Oh, no, it was a dad."
Oh.
There with his kid, he goes, "I don't know how he broke his leg. He was only on a really tiny ramp." So,
Oh, God.
and this is the second story he's told me about dad, sort of middle-aged dad, not too old, but, maybe sort of early 40s. I'll give that a bit of a lash. And another guy at our local skate park, he dropped in on his girl's scooter into the bowl, broke his leg at right angle. So the tensions, John. I'm older, but I still want to do new things.
I'm a middle-aged man who should be wearing a cardigan and smoking a pipe, and yet I'm a man-child.
Yeah, so
who doesn't want to grow up? Peter Pan.
So there's no right or wrong there, but think of this tension. So, John, have you got any that you can think about?
Well, I'm definitely not going down the skate park. That's not me. Well, I suppose I do. The tension's always about the things you want to get to the things that are stopping you get to those things.
Yeah.
So, for example, getting up at the start of the day and I want to do a bit of meditation. I should meditate.
Yeah.
Need to get 10 minutes in. But can't for the life of me find 10 minutes. I feel like I have to go and crack on and start my to-do list. So I'm constantly wrestling that tension and thinking, right, let's go sit quietly for 10 minutes. And then I jump up after 3 and think, right, I've got to get that thing done. So yeah, there's always a tension. Must stop breathing now. Go and do that thing. Stop breathing.
Well, think of this tension, the tension of breathing in versus breathing out. Both equally important. Which one's more important, John? I'm going to advocate for only breathing in. No, I'm going to advocate for only breathing out. There's a tension in this space.
So yeah, I get that idea. Yeah, most of the times there's competing tensions. So yes. Absolutely, I get that. And I suppose if we think about it in the context of occupational philosophers, a lot of people at work will have those tensions, won't they, about what they have to turn their attention to, strategic versus here and now and doing the day job to thinking about the future. That would be classic tensions that people have at work where they've got to think about, how are we going to grow the business to how do I keep sort of money coming in the door right now? Yeah, I get those.
And so it's also, I think we speak almost every week we speak around how do we bring more creativity into our lives? How do we bring more curiosity into our lives and world of work? And how do we reimagine those things? But there's a tension there. And Dr. Jen, our change fairy, spoke about this.
Love
when it's
Dr.
the right
Jen.
time. Yeah, when it's the right time for this stuff. I sort of think we can be curious all day, but how do we start to balance this more space where we block out creative time versus getting the day-to-day done? As someone who spent the morning on admin. So the tension, and I felt it the whole time. I thought, this is the tension here. This is not the right work for me at the moment. So.
Yeah, and I think, as you were saying, we can describe it as tension. I'll often see it as people trying to find balance as well. There's a little fulcrum, and they've got two competing things on either side of this little seesaw, and it's trying to sort of refine that, recalibrate it so they get that finer balance. It's really tough. Everyone's doing it all the time. And you're right. I think it's first off is to be mindful that those tensions are there, I suppose, is step one, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think once you're mindful and have that awareness, rather than just being caught in that constant fight, stand back and go, there's a tension here. There's a tension here. How I balance these tensions will be what makes my week, what makes my day, what makes my work successful. And then here's the thing, John, there's no right or wrong answer.
Well, that's it. Life's complex, isn't it? There's another tension. Complexity, simplicity. No, I think the key thing is first to maybe recognize where those tensions are. I can imagine, and sometimes I would do that, just almost list out and say, look, where are these competing tensions? And just become very conscious of them by just identifying them all first. So that's a potential first step.
And then I think a really nice discussion, we often speak through the lens of teams, have this discussion with your teams, call out what are some of those tensions. And it might be tensions between two silos in the organizations, competing things that we want different things done, so balancing them. I think it's a really nice discussion because once you know they're there and you say, I am aware, it's a lot easier to sort of think, how might we balance these tensions and how might we realize on different days the tensions might be one might be more dominant than the other, and that's okay.
Yeah. Or tensions between one set of people who are the decent set of people and a set over there who are a bunch of assholes and trying to find
No,
we'll cut that. Don't worry. That's all right.
Leave it in. Yeah, there's tension between good people and assholes. That's true.
And tensions for organizations, well, that's always going to be the case. As everybody talks about organizations and CEOs operating in VUCA worlds, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, tensions, absolutely at the heart of that. That's what they're always trying to wrestle with on a large scale.
So look, I think to wrap this up, John, be aware of the tensions, and the tensions are okay. They're there, and they're not a good or a bad thing, but just be aware of them and always ask yourself, as a great occupational philosopher, how do I balance this tension of building a little bit more creativity, curiosity, imagination into my world, and finding those things which can help me deliver some of that great stuff that I know I'm capable of.
And also, again, with the idea of philosophy and questioning, why are those tensions there as well? And again, it's just a simple build on identify why they exist, and then, as you say, be mindful of how you're going to navigate those and deciding when you turn your attention from one to the other.
And as we like to say, run a little micro experiment. See how if you balance those tensions in a different way for the week with as we go back to our New Year's resolutions, which we often fall apart, just keep the micro experiments, keep testing, trying, experimenting around those tensions and see what comes out of it.
All right, I'm off to go meditate.
All right, John. So on that, as always, thanks for joining us. Tell your friends, leave a rating, stay curious, have fun, make stuff, play more, and
take life.